Heavy rain begin fall and plenty water full everywhere. Dey alert, my people. Shine your eyes as e dey happen for other places. If fit reach your side.
Má ṣe da ìdọ̀tí sójú àgbàrá. Gbé ilẹ̀ rẹ fún àwọn ọkọ̀ akólẹ̀.
No go put yourself for danger dey waka for flooded roads.
Gbọ́ o, ǹjẹ́ tó bá rí ẹnikẹ́ni tó hùwà tó lòdì sí òfin àmójútó ìdọ̀tí àti ẹ̀gbin, ẹ fi tó àwọn aláṣẹ létí. Report to the nearest authorities.
Má ṣe da ìdọ̀tí sójú àgbàrá.
Ìlera lọ́rọ̀. This awareness is brought to you by Radio Afinju.
Life no get duplicate.
Na so ẹ̀mí ò láàárọ̀ o.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni.
Tẹ́ jẹ́jẹ́ o.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o. Make you take am easy.
Na so.
Radio Afinju says if you drink, don't drive. If you drive, don't drink.
Tẹ́ jẹ́jẹ́ o.
Make you take am easy.
Na so.
This awareness is brought to you by Radio Afinju.
Inspiring stories. Real talk from health and wellness to career and relationship. We explore it all. Meet your host, the Radio Gem, and other women on Women Corner every Wednesday, 8 to 9 p.m., where sisterhood meets support. It promises to elevate your mind, and most importantly, it's gonna be fun. Follow us on our social media platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, X, all at Radio Afinju. Keep a date with us on Women Corner every Wednesday, 8 to 9 p.m.
on Radio Afinju.
Wherever you're listening or watching Radio Afinju, the time is 3 p.m.
First, a look at the highlights. Tinubu calls for peace, civility in Edo State governorship elections. Guinea Stadium massacre fugitive extradited from Liberia. Harris says anyone breaking into her home is getting shot. A very good afternoon and welcome to the World News on Radio Afinju. My name is Stella Aderanti. The news in detail. President Bola Tinubu has called on all stakeholders in tomorrow's governorship election in Edo State to conduct themselves peacefully and sportingly. According to a statement by his special advisor on information and strategy, Bayo Ononuga, the president appealed to the governorship candidates, political parties and supporters to respect the democratic process and the people's will. Tinubu, who said he believes in the voters' ability to make informed decisions about their future leaders, stressed that democracy thrives on civility, tolerance, patience, and respect for the rules of the game. According to him, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has committed to conducting a free and fair election and urged all stakeholders to work together to ensure a successful and peaceful process. He implored all citizens in the state to remain peaceful and respectful throughout the voting process, urging them to resolve any disagreements amicably through the constituted authorities. Meanwhile, the Edo Residential Electoral Commissioner, Anubum Onoha, has called on political parties in Edo State to come forward with incriminating evidence against his competence in the wake of the governorship election in the state due to be held on Saturday. Onoha, while featuring as a guest on a television program, said he is competent enough to conduct a free and fair election in Edo State. He also urged political parties to disregard allegations of likely favoritism peddled against him. Edo PDP Chairman Tony Azegbemi had asked the Independent National Electoral Commission to redeploy Onoha over ties with Wike. Azegbemi had expressed a lack of confidence in the REC's ability to conduct a free and fair election in the state. However, in response, the Chief Press Secretary to the INEC, Rotimi Oyekami, said the commission would not redeploy the Edo REC. He urged PDP to focus on the election process rather than on Onoha, assuring the public that the election will be conducted transparently. Onoha said his closeness to Wike does not count as he was competent to handle the election. The Kano State Judicial Service Commission has suspended a court registrar of the Sharia Court Department, Jamilu Ibrahim, along with other syndicates found to have received illegal funds emanating from a right of possession that was fraudulently obtained in order to sell 2 plots of land. This is contained in a statement by the spokesman, Kano Judiciary, Jibo Ibrahim, and made available to newsmen. He said the Commission took the decision in its 76th meeting held on September 12, 2024. He said following the findings of the investigative committee set up by the JSC to investigate the petition against Ibrahim and others, the investigation revealed that Ibrahim, along with the syndicate, were liable for their actions. Jibo noted that the committee recommended that Ibrahim should be dismissed from service. However, according to him, the Judicial Service Commission has suspended Ibrahim indefinitely without pay, pending the outcome of a trial he is facing before a magistrate court. The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has sealed the Gamboru drug market in Maiduguri, Borno State, over illicit drug practices. Among the illicit practices, washing and sun-drying of contaminated drugs for resale amidst the devastating flood that hit the state. It was gathered that the Maiduguri flood crisis was caused by the rupture of the Alau Dam on the Ngada River, 12 miles south of Maiduguri. The severe flooding had so far killed no fewer than 30 persons and forced 400,000 others from their homes. The agency, in a post on its X handle, said it orders the closure of the drug market after the recent flooding submerged the market and the drugs became contaminated. According to the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, through its spokesperson, Ezekiel Manzo, the death toll is 30. And away from Nigeria, Guinea's most wanted fugitive, a former senior military officer who escaped from prison last November, has been extradited from neighboring Liberia along with his son. Guinea's military prosecutor said former Colonel Claude Pivy will now serve his life sentence after being convicted in absentia for his role in the massacre of opposition supporters at a stadium in the capital Conakry in 2009. He and his son, Vernie Vivi, were arrested on the border of the two states during a routine security check on Tuesday. Photos circulating online showed Pivy looking frail and handcuffed alongside his son, who is accused of orchestrating the prison break that freed his father. Former military leader Musa Kamara was also freed, but was quickly recaptured. He is serving a 20-year prison sentence for crimes against humanity. The charges stemmed from one of the worst massacres in the nation's history, the killing of more than 156 people after troops opened fire at an opposition rally in September 2009 to demand a return of civilian rule. In other parts of Africa, Gabon's deposed President Ali Bongo has announced he will quit politics a year after he was toppled from power by a military coup. The 65-year-old also called for the release of his wife and son, who are in detention awaiting trial on corruption allegations. It is not clear whether his statement follows any negotiations with the military rulers or if he is hoping that by agreeing to quit politics he will secure his family's freedom. Bongo suffered a stroke in 2018, and his health was a major source of concern for many in the build-up to the 2023 presidential election. The army seized power last August, shortly after Bongo was declared the winner of the election, which was disputed by the opposition. He had led the oil-rich country since 2009 when he succeeded his father, who had been in power for more than 40 years. The family had strong links to France, the former colonial power in Gabon. In Europe, France's territories in the Caribbean and the Pacific are facing a new wave of unrest, with security forces killing 2 men in New Caledonia and a curfew imposed after rioting in Martinique. The uptick in violence poses a challenge for new centre-right Prime Minister Michel Barnier, who has struggled to form a government following snap parliamentary elections in June, where no party won an absolute majority. It was learned that Barnier, the European Union's former Brexit negotiator, submitted a proposed new cabinet to President Emmanuel Macron late on Thursday, with a list to be officially announced as soon as Friday. The NOMI prosecutor's office disclosed that in the Pacific territory of New Caledonia, police killed 2 men during an overnight operation. The prosecutor's statement said the incident took place in St. Louis, a stronghold of the independence movement south of Nomia, as police search for about a dozen people suspected of involvement in armed robbery and attacks on security forces. The killings raised to 13 the death toll on the Pacific Island since the start of a crisis triggered by a controversial voting reform that was suspended in June. A Georgian transgender model and prominent public figure has been stabbed to death in her apartment in a premeditated attack, authorities say, amidst criticism of a government crackdown on LGBTQ rights. The actress and influencer, Kasteria Abramitz, 37 years, was killed in a knife attack a day after a bill supporting family values passed its final reading. The law has been compared to Russia's gay propaganda law and criticized by the European Union and rights groups as stigmatizing LGBTQ people. Abramitz was the first person in Georgia to publicly come out as transgender. She represented the country at the Miss Transstar International contest in 2018 and had more than 500,000 followers on Instagram. The Ministry of Internal Affairs said that she suffered multiple stab wounds and it was investigating a premeditated murder committed with particular cruelty and aggravating circumstances on gender grounds. It was reported that the police have arrested a male suspect. In the Americas, U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris has spoken of her willingness to use her gun if an intruder entered her home. Harris, who highlighted during the recent presidential debate that she was a gun owner, went on to reiterate that she supported a ban on assault weapons. She stressed that she was a supporter of the U.S. Second Amendment, which protects the right to gun ownership. But she went on to set out her case for a ban on assault weapons, citing America's problem with school shootings. Still in the Americas, a Kentucky sheriff has been arrested after fatally shooting a judge in his chambers. Kentucky State Police said District Judge Kelvin Mullins died at the scene after being shot multiple times in the Letcher County courthouse. Letcher County Sheriff Sean Steins, 43 years, has been charged with one count of first-degree murder. The shooting happened after an argument inside the court, police said, but they have not yet revealed a motive. Officials said Mullins, 54 years, was shot multiple times at the court in Whitesburg, Kentucky, a small rural town about 150 miles southeast of Lexington. Sheriff Steins was arrested at the scene without incident, but the police did not reveal the nature of the argument before the shooting. From the Middle East comes a report that Israel has carried out extensive airstrikes on southern Lebanon, saying its warplanes have hit more than 100 Hezbollah rocket launchers and other terrorist sites, including a weapons storage facility. The Israel Defense Forces, IDF, said the launchers were ready to be fired against Israel, but it was not immediately clear if there were any casualties. Lebanon's state-run national news agency said Israel carried out at least 52 strikes in the south of the country on Thursday evening. Hezbollah, meanwhile, said it had also launched strikes on military sites in northern Israel. The Israeli airstrikes, which lasted more than 2 hours, were some of the most intense of the recent conflict. Earlier in the morning, Israel lifted orders restricting movement that it had issued for communities in the Golan Heights and parts of northern Israel, its military confirmed. The IDF added it would be carrying out activities in the training areas of northern Israel over the weekend, and that gunshots and explosions might be heard in nearby settlements. Gaza Civil Defense says at least 12 Palestinians killed in 2 Israeli attacks on Gaza City today. Video captured Israeli soldiers pushing bodies off a roof as Israeli raid leaves 5 Palestinians dead in Kabatia in the occupied West Bank. Israel and Hezbollah trade cross-border fire as people in Lebanon ditch electronic devices after explosions killed 37 people and wounded nearly 3,000 on Tuesday and Wednesday. At least 41,272 people have been killed and 95,551 wounded in Israel's war on Gaza. In Israel, the number of those killed in the Hamas-led attacks on October 7 was at least 1,139, while more than 200 people were taken captive. Now talking sports, Nigerian-born UFC star Israel Adesanya has placed a $10,000 stake on two-time former unified world heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua in his IBF heavyweight title fight against Daniel Dubois. The title fight is scheduled for September 21st, 2024 at the Wembley Stadium, England. The highly anticipated all-British clash will see 96,000 fans create an atmosphere at the venue familiar to Joshua, but a new territory for Dubois. This will be Dubois' first fight at England's National Stadium, adding to the pressure on him and his team, led by trainer Dan Charles. Adesanya's bet shows that he picked Joshua as the winner to win between the 10th and 12th rounds, with an estimated payout of $50,000. However, Dubois had boldly declared his intention to knock out Joshua. The 26-year-old Briton, who brands himself as a good destroyer, is confident he can deliver only the second knockout defeat of Joshua's professional career. Before we go, here again are the highlights. President Bola Tinubu has called on all stakeholders in tomorrow's governorship election in Edo State to conduct themselves peacefully and sportingly. Elsewhere, Guinea's most wanted fugitive, a former senior military officer who escaped from prison last November, has been extradited from neighboring Liberia along with his son. And from the Americas, U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris has spoken of a willingness to use her gun if an intruder entered her home. And that was the world news on Radio Afinju. To view our channel, please follow us on Facebook, Radio Afinju, X, Radio Afinju, and YouTube, Afinju FM. My name is Stella Aderanti. Thanks for listening.